So I am back, and well, one thing is a little bit different, but well, let's disregard that. Let's just go on to the topic at hand. Tien Shinhan, or as the Jap fans will call him, Tien Shinhan. what a what would be the word? I couldn't call him an abused character. What a sad character. Like, it's honestly sad. Like, I think Tien is the most prudent example of just the sad outcome that happened for the humans in Dragon Ball, Because one thing I want to say, really, before I even start talking about this, is my favorite fight in all of Dragon Ball. This might shock you because I don't hear anyone talking about it. My favorite fight in all of Dragon Ball is actually Goku vs. Tien. Their first fight in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. That is my favorite fight in the entire series. I love that fight so much. Love it more than Goku vs. Vegeta. Love it more than Goku vs. Frieza. Love it more than whatever, Goku versus King Piccolo, Jackie Chun, whatever. I love it. I love that fight a lot. So, as a proxy, I am a fan of Tien, especially back in the day. And just to see his path, it's pretty sad. So, let's go through a review of his character, from beginning to end. So, Tien shows up as the lead student of the Crane School of Master Shen, who is like the rival of Master Roshi, right? So immediately he's like pointed up as a rival to Goku, and in the anime, of course, we have that little scene beforehand in the whole Ino episode, where he's actually introduced earlier on, which I like. I like that that was the case. It made him feel like less of just some random character being put in. Um, so I was fine with that. I mean, there's really not much to say about that. Ino was this like boar pig thing that Roshi and Shen like raised together as kids, I guess, or when they were young. Maybe. I mean, it like kind of like fought with Goku, so maybe it's kind of like experienced in like training with them or something. But Tien and Chiaotzu somehow have it, I guess, to a Shin, and they basically just have it wreak havoc on a village, and then they'll be hired by that village, get rid of Ino Shikucho, and then they'll take the pay. But they're actually friends with Ino Shikucho, so they're like cheating villages doing that. The real thing that's just notable there is not really the fact that they're cheating and they're scamming. It's really when Goku tries to reveal that this is fake and this is whatever, disingenuous, and Tien is willing to go as far as to like burn Inoshikacho, just to get his pay in the end. Um, and this really isn't emphasizing that he's greedy; it's emphasizing that he's brutal. And that's what he was trying to really sell himself as when he first appeared. This was his concept of himself. We see this when he fights Yamcha. He breaks his leg, and he humiliates Yamcha throughout that entire fight. Tanks his Kamehameha. Well, not really tanks it. He does like a hand sign thing and like deflects it. I don't really know what that move is. You never see that again. Then Yamcha does his Wolf Fang Blowing Wind. I do remember that. Yeah, a lot of people forget. Wolf Fang Blowing Wind. And I think you might say it should have been called Wolf Fang, Blowing Hot Air. You never see it again, and it's kind of pathetic. But he just like firms up and he like turns red and he just tanks it. You know, breaks Yamcha's leg. He has all these like really funny like jokes that he's like teasing Yamcha with. Like, yeah, I think like he gets hit like by that, and he's like, oh, what is it? He's like, oh, I appreciate the massage, but I thought this was a fight. And then he's yeah, for someone who speaks pain, for someone who doesn't speak pain, you sound very fluent. Like, oh my god. Like he's a jokester. I mean, he's like cracking jokes. It's really funny. I mean, yeah, it's like disrespectful, but it's just really funny. I'm kind of someone who does that. When I'm on a competitive game, trash talk does happen. Mainly when I play Axis and Allies, but like he gives like pure trash talk. That's really what he gives, and it's really funny. To be honest, I don't know if it was like that in the Japanese dub, but in the English dub, that's how he's like. It's really funny. But so yeah, I mean that's really what he is. I mean you could call him the DI, the DIC, the not nice, poopy head, jerk, meanie guy. He's not nice. But he shows up, he's not nice. That's really the most significant thing about him. Not nice, really strong. I really thought the dynamic with him. I mean, really the most interesting thing here is Tien, Shen, and Roshi. All these characters in the dynamic. That's really the most interesting thing about this. I don't know if this was filler, but you had a scene where Shen, like, basically snuck into like Goku's house and basically tried to assassinate him for killing Tao. I don't know if that was in the manga. I should have checked that, but I don't know if that was in the manga or not. But nonetheless, it's in the anime, and I love that. I love that so much because Tien interrupts and he's like, "No, I'll fight him in the ring and I'll humiliate him there." But you just don't see things like that in Dragon Ball, playing dirty like that. And Shen plays dirty. Tien doesn't necessarily play dirty, but he does disrespect his opponent. And Chiaotzu's a cheater. Although, it's like Chiaotzu really just cheats because he's ordered to, and Tien just plays dirty because he has this idea of himself as a killer, as like the successor of Tao. He has that idea early on. I mean, we'll go into it. So, I mean, that's really the first thing. Well, not the first thing, but a notable thing we see about Tien exposed right there, which is the fact that he's honorable. He's an honorable fighter. We see this when he fights Goku as well. He hates the fact that Shen is giving him assistance to fight Goku. He wants to fight Goku on his own terms. We'll go into that whole fight because Tien really has like a full character turn in that fight with Goku. So, we'll go into it as we do. But, his fight with Yamcha, he's not really phased at all. But then he has his fight with Jackie Chun. Also one of my absolute favorite fights in the series. I love this one so much. I love his Yamcha fight too. That tournament, in terms of fights, the best. The best. I'm not sure if it's my absolute favorite. I might... Because unlike character development, it's really just like Tien for the most part. But like the fights are just so good. Like so good. Goku vs. Krillin. Tien vs. Jackie Chun. Tien vs. Yamcha. Krillin vs. Chiaotzu, Goku vs. Tien, like, that's what we're talking about, Toriel. That's what we're talking about. That is really good. Like, man, God. Anyway. I mean, that's another video, I guess. But, so Tien, he, in the fight with Jackie Chun, I mean, one notable thing is he mimics the Kamehameha on sight, basically. He's just like, there's not any technique I can't perform. With the English dub voice, it's a bit difficult for me to do like the pose because I'm wearing a suit here. I mean it's kind of restrictive, but I mean I wish I could do a Kamehameha in full, but we have our trebles, so let's go over that fight. So for around the majority of the fight, Tien does not know Jackie Chun is Master Roshi. And then Shen later exposits to him. And this is one thing I want to say, just irrespective of like Tien as a character, I really love how a lot of these elements that we see later on in Dragon Ball were introduced here. I mean, one of them being like the solar flare, which is a technique of Tien, flying. You see more like energy attacks, things like that, like the Dodon Ray, seeing more. And also like telepathy, talking through telepathy, you see that a lot between Shen and his students and things like that. And Roshi, critiques this. He actually sees Chiaotzu flying, and he says, "Oh, pure Shen," seeing a flying boy. So flying is really one of Roshi's techniques, and a lot of these like key techniques, they aren't the Turtle Hermit style. I guess I need to make a video about that too. But my God, but the Turtle Hermit style is pushing your body to its physical limits. The principles of the Turtle Hermit style, or Kame Sennin style, if you want to say that, is consistent training, consistent regimen, and just pushing your body, to its furthest limits. That's really the principle. It's not based around tricks. It's not based around a bunch of like key techniques and manipulation. That's really what it's based around. So Shin is like an adverse of Roshi in that respect. Of course, the interesting thing is like Mutaito appears to be like a harmony between those ideas. He seems to promote both ideas. Again, that's its own video, so I don't want to go too much on that, but just how the arc and Tien as a proxy and Shen and all that introduce all these concepts. I want to point that out because I think it's a respectable, very interesting part of the series that it's not commented on. It's not commented on when something like flight in Dragon Ball wasn't like a quaint, normal thing. I mean, there was a time where it was like, ooh, wow, they fly, you know. I mean, it was. But, so. And I'm not gonna like go into like Tien's techniques here much like that. I mean, a little bit, but this is like a character dissection of Tien. Um, so once he realizes that Jackie Chan is Roshi, he begins to like disrespect him a lot more, as he would. But he is like taking Roshi's like words to heart a bit. They clearly have an effect on him. And even the fact that he is Roshi, I mean, Roshi's like, yes, I'm Roshi, but my identity doesn't make my words any less true. And this is really the Tien conflict that he has, which is that Tien has this vision of himself as a killer, as a kind of brute, as like an abuser kind of guy. He has this vision of himself, and I mean, we don't know where fully that comes from. I guess it's because he was trained by Tao, and that's really the mentality he's supposed to have. I don't know if it comes from Shin, or if it comes from Tao, or if it comes from both. That is not exactly exposited upon, but nonetheless, he has this idea of himself. And something I really like about it, is Roshi. He sees that Tien, this just isn't his nature, and this is something you see in Dragon Ball on occasion. And this is something I pointed out with Vegeta as well in my character analysis of him, is for bad guys, you can see their deeper nature, and when you do, I mean, you can pity them, and in this case, Roshi saw Tien's nature deep down. Just as you might say, Goku saw Vegeta's. It may not be exactly as personal like that, but I mean, really, the turning point is Tien was understanding what Roshi was saying. He had these doubts within himself, and then Roshi forfeits the match, and he's angered by this, because he wanted to humiliate Roshi, and if he did, he would prove to himself and to his master that he is along the right path himself. And Shen tries to comfort him by saying, "Oh, Roshi just surrendered because he knew you were too strong." And Tien says, "No, he wasn't fighting at full power. He surrendered for another reason." And he pursues Roshi, and you get this great scene. This scene is so good. I could maybe make a video about it on its own. Maybe not right now, but man, man. But Roshi, he's putting his Jackie Chan suit back in his suitcase, and he's, goodbye, Jackie Chan. It feels like I'm saying goodbye to an old friend. And Tien approaches him. And Roshi says a very, critical line here, especially if you know later on in the series, DBZ, these kinds of things. Master Roshi says, he could use a group of new heroes, I believe he says. And he sees Tien as that. For at the moment, he sees Tien as the successor of Jackie Chan, and the reason is because all Jackie Chan is simply the next gate in front of Goku's development and his students' development. That's really what Jackie Chan is. He is just the next challenge, to prove to Goku and to Krillin and to Yamcha that their road of training never ends. You never become the best. You never become perfect. There was always someone better. That is what Jackie Chan is. And by Tien taking up that role and by beating Goku, he becomes the next Jackie Chan. And that's really what it is. That's how Roshi sees it. And I mean, we can. That's a theme for the entirety of Dragon Ball. And I mean, that's one thing is Roshi really is. How do I say? He commentates the philosophy of Dragon Ball. The philosophy of Roshi is the philosophy of Dragon Ball because it will be taken up by Goku. And in this case, Tien is a part of it. Now, I need to make a video about that too. Man, maybe I'm just loading up my plate too much. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. But Tien, initially says, "Oh, I'm not a part of this. I'm not a part of this. I will win the tournament on my own terms." And he also continues to deny, "Oh no, I am a killer. I am a killer." And Roshi says, "No, you're not. You're a killer. That is it. If you're a killer, that's your nature. You do that, you don't doubt it. But you have a conscience. You aren't a killer. You're trying to convince yourself you are. Tao was natural born. He was perfect at what he did. That's not who you are." I really like that because for me it's interesting because it just takes place over the entire tournament, and then you'd have the whole King Piccolo saga after this very sudden turn. But Tien's turn here, I feel very, it feels very natural within the time that it does take. And it was the first really. I mean, Yamcha is an example of a character who turned good to evil, but Yamcha wasn't like a villain really. He was like a general antagonist, just like a competitor basically. Oh, you have Dragon Balls, well, I want to take them for my own sake. Yamcha was not. He was hostile, but he was not like. He didn't have like a personal grudge against Goku. Tien kind of did. I mean, it's interesting. Um, Tien did not hate Goku. It's just, and even when he goes into the fight, I believe the first thing he says is, "This isn't about the rivalry between our two schools. I'm just simply going to win, and I'm going to be the champion." And in the end, that's what Tien comes to. That's the conclusion he comes to in the fight. Is he just says, I don't care about my school. I don't care about the past of this. I don't care about any rivalries. I'm just simply going to beat you, and I'm just going to be the champion. That's all I care about, just to be the best. That's what I came here for. That's why I learned to fight. That's it. And I really like that because in the end, Tien accepts that really what he wants is the eternal mentality, and he becomes a student of Master Roshi in that way, in the fact that he learns Roshi's philosophy. He was already like well trained, clearly. He was like Goku's level, all that. God, the hair. Look at that, it's just sticking out. God. Stay. Okay, good. But in that way, the moment he declares that, the moment he declares, all I want to do is just be the best, and I'm just gonna win. That's all I care about. That is when he becomes inadvertently a student of Roshi. He takes up Roshi's philosophy, and I really love that because again, that's what the philosophy of Roshi and of Dragon Ball and of Goku is. Um, and that's really how Tien comes to the side of the Z Fighters or the Beta Z Fighters or whatever you call it. And I love that. I love that where it's a philosophical alliance in that way. And I think Tien understands that. And in the end, he and Goku can respect each other as opponents. And Tien, again, the honorable one he is, not only does within the fight, he uh, get angry at Shen when he was cheating with Chiaotzu's powers. I mean, later you have Roshi like blasting Shen out of the arena or whatever. Um, and that's really where like Roshi just giving the initiative. Where he's just like, keep the fight going, keep the fight going. Because Roshi clearly sees this as like a legendary fight. He tells Krillin before the fight begins, like, watch these boys carefully. You might not see another fight like this. But Tien, before he fires the Tri-Beam at Goku, he warns him. And Goku actually thanks Tien later because he says if he did not see that coming, he wouldn't have been able to dodge it. He would have died. So Tien the Honorable. And we will see that as time goes on. Tien the Honorable. I'm a real real fan of the man for that reason. But after winning the tournament, because he does the tri-beam basically just to win. He's just like, I'm just gonna fire it, just gonna blow up the arena. Goku can't fly, I can, so I'll just win. And Goku continues, and he pushes Tien. But the only reason Tien won is just because Goku landed on a car and Tien landed on like the ground. It's just Goku landed on the ground first technically, so Tien wins. And Tien actually offered to split the prize money with Goku after the tournament because he didn't like winning that way. And obviously ended up like buying food for Goku and all that. But that's really great. It's really great how that goes. Because in the end, Tien, he doesn't care about Tao. He didn't like Tao. His master in the end, is putting him on the wrong path. He can tell that. And in the end, he accepts his nature. And he accepts the Turtle Hermit philosophy. And he basically just commits to being the best fighter he can and just getting stronger. That's really all he cares about. That's what he wants. And I love seeing that. I'm not mentioning really Chiaotzu here because there's not much to mention. For the most part, Chiaotzu just kind of like is Tien's friend and kind of just goes along with him, which is fine. But Chiaotzu's not much of a philosophical character. Really, he only has one. Well, he has maybe like two deep scenes in the series, which is the Piccolo scenario and the sacrifice against Nappa, and we'll get into that. But yeah, it's really Tien at his introduction in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai at his height. A character arc I respect. Some of the best fights in the series. Awesome techniques being shown off for the first time. Even the quaint ones like flight and telepathy and solar flare and all that. Not even as other things like the multi-arms and the tri-beam and things like that. Awesome character. Love him. That's his height. Favorite fight in the series. Favorite tournament fights. I'm not sure my favorite tournament, but the fights in it are definitely my favorite out of any of the tournaments. So, awesome. So, right with that epic introduction, we go to the Demon King Piccolo arc where he gets kinda sidelined. Now, the respectful thing here is really the fact that Tien goes along with Roshi. You have Roshi, Chiaotzu, and Tien, and they go looking for the Dragon Balls. And I really like this because, Tien starts calling a Roshi master and things like that. That you'll see. And, it establishes that, like, character dynamic between Tien and Roshi. And Tien establishes his respect for Roshi. And even though Roshi doesn't do much to teach Tien on, like, a physical training level, as I said, on that philosophical level, it is significant. And I respect it for that reason. And it's just, it's something to appreciate. Tien, he has learned from Master Roshi, but he doesn't need to bear the symbol of the Eternal School or anything like that. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice, Toriyama Sanyo. But, it's really what it is just Tien consistently wants to use the Mafuba, the Evil Containment Wave, on King Piccolo. Roshi says, absolutely not. It's really like the gimmick there. Tien, he's willing to use those measures. And, it should be said, the fact that the man pushes himself, this much for people he had just met, people who he used to just be enemies with, admirable. And he sees the Mafuba against King Piccolo, Roshi's last stand. Beautiful scene. Maybe I make a video on that too. Love that scene though. But Tien says basically to Yamcha, you can't do the Evil Containment Wave unless you've seen it. So then he goes on his own to train, and then he shows up against Piccolo before Goku is there, and he uses it, but he goes against Drum first, and then it was a cool scene where he got Drum in it, and then he's like, "Oh, you're coming? Well, then I'll just take Piccolo next," or whatever. Pretty epic, because usually it's like a one-shot deal. Use it once, you die. So the fact that Tien was like, yeah, I'll keep going, kind of cool. I liked it. I like the fact that he took the stand there. He's like, nah, I will avenge Roshi. I will avenge Chiaotzu. Love the man. I mean, the man will always go for the proper revenge. You know, when it needs. When in due part, he will be there. But, I mean, he loses in this arc. I mean, he was like at Goku's level before, and by the end of it, Goku is just miles above him with Zenkai's and the Ultra Divine Water. Um, but that kind of gives him an inspiration. He was like, "Oh, we were equal before, and I see how strong Goku is now," and he's inspired to push himself even further. Which again, great. Back in the day, that's what he is, and he does. And later we see he at the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, he goes out traveling with Krillin and Yamcha and Chiaotzu, and they go around the world. That's a really great one, because Roshi basically says to them, "Oh, just swimming laps all day, you're not going to get progress. You need to do what Goku has done. Search through the world, find yourselves, find new discipline for yourself. That's what we need to do." So they go off on a journey like that, go to Kronstadt, where all that. Um, and yeah, it's like maybe I'm skimming over the Piccolo arc, but honestly, it's like the main thing about Tien is just the fact that he got kind of like shafted. I mean, he comes back to the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, and there are a couple notable things I want to point out. Mainly the fact that he is one of the only people who actually shows an aura in the tournament. His aura is yellow there, interestingly. But, he does. And back then, that was like a serious thing. The only other people who do that, I believe, are Goku and Piccolo. So, he is shown to be basically number 3. Now, he has this fight with Goku, which is really cool. I mean, it's a good fight. But Goku was, like, playing. Goku still was above him. Yeah. I mean, I'm a real fan of that fight, but, Tien still was below. He had pushed himself to a good level. Again, shows off his aura, shows off the multi-form technique, which Goku sees through. And I really like that fight, mainly just because of what it shows of Goku. Goku has grown up, and he sees through the flaws of that technique, and he points out the flaws to Tien. And for me, it's like, seeing Goku, like when he fought Krillin last tournament, the way he was acting, in, against a superior, as a, as a superior to his opponent, and in this case with Tien pointing out the flaws of their techniques. I really like it because you get to see the lens of Goku really as like a fighting genius, very skilled and experienced fighter. I really like seeing that. But it's like this fight, Tien gets kind of humiliated. Granted, I mean with the whole underwear falling down thing, like, I mean it's a gag, it's fine. It's fine, it's not like we came out of this saying, "Oh, Tien is lame, Tien is a loser," right? I mean, no, it's like Tien, he's made good progress. Goku shows him respect. It's just Goku is at this higher level, which is good. I mean, Goku is an adult now. I mean, we should expect him to be kind of, impressive. And he is. And, so, in terms of character development, Tien doesn't really get much, which is fine. But, that's how it is here. So, after Z, Tien just continues training at the waterfalls or whatever. Launch is still looking for him. And I could point that out, really like the launch dynamic. But there's not much to point out there. Like, Bad Launch likes Tien. Well, actually, I guess there is something to point out. Bad Launch likes Tien. And really, she's just like, what do you say, hijacked from the series? Just eliminated from the series? Basically, when around Z starts. And for me, like, one thing I will point out is I think that sucks. I do. I'm a real fan of Launch. Absolutely a fan of Launch. She's a really funny character. Honestly, like, I'm a real fan. I find her really funny. Especially seeing her, like, subtly, like Bad Launch, subtly become more friendly with the characters as time goes on. I was honestly really a fan of Launch. I was. And for me, like, I ask this, why is it that, like, Tien couldn't be with Launch? Goku gets with Chi-Chi, Yamcha's with Bulma, and Bulma's with Vegeta, and Krillin is like with Android 18. Like, why can't Tien be with Launch? Like, what's the problem with that? Why couldn't that happen? You know, launch should be more like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the problem with that? I think that would have been great. I think that would have been funny. I mean, it would be. It's kind of weird because I'm not sure if Good Launch actually likes Tien. I'm not sure if that's the case. Bad Launch does. I'm not sure if Good Launch does. But I think it would have been fine, totally fine, if you had Tien like marry Launch or something. Like, they're, like Tien's kids or something. Like, come on. Like, what's the problem with that? I don't know. Why? I don't know. Is it because Tien is like, he's like a symbol of, I guess, Buddhism or whatever, because he has the third eye? So is Tien too Zen to get married or something like that? Like, I don't get the problem. Like, I don't know. For me, I think I think they should have done that. Kept launching the series, have her marry Tien, and give Tien some kids. Some little bald three-eyed people, three-eyed people running around. Like, what's the problem? I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know why. I mean, Toriyama. Well, Toriyama ran out of ideas for her, but I don't know. It's weird to me. I don't get it. I don't get why that just couldn't happen. Anyway, so Tien comes in Z and he trains with Mr. Popo and goes in for the Saiyans. So I've said this for a long time. This was really like the last stand as the humans being like kind of a serious force in Dragon Ball. Is this fight here with the Cybermen? So Chiaotzu sacrificed himself against Nappa pretty quickly, and Tien had taken care of a Cyberman. But yeah, it's like Tien actually said like maybe he should have just not let Chiaotzu show up anyway, just because he was too weak. So Chiaotzu suicide bombs and doesn't hurt Nappa. Vegeta says he could have, maybe. He was close, but no. So Chiaotzu basically just sacrificed himself for nothing. Piccolo gave his respect for it, so there's to appreciate that, but does nothing. Tien then gets angry and actually, he gets his arm just like punched off by Nappa. But he gets angry and he like charges Nappa and he kind of pushes him, but yeah. Then he does a tri-beam at Nappa, which I believe that was the one that damaged his armor. But that was it. So one little scene actually that I will point out that I do like is when Gohan did not hit Nappa, like when they did that thing where like Piccolo hit Nappa up and then Krillin hit him down, and Gohan was supposed to finish him off, and Gohan was scared. Gohan runs away, but he actually finds Tien like passed out, and I found it a nice scene, kind of like maybe a cute scene where he's just like, "Oh, Mr. Tien," I like it. Yeah, it's a little quaint scene, but it's just something I like. Um, there, Gohan looking at Tien, he's all passed out there. And you gotta feel bad for the man, like Chiaotzu sacrificed himself for nothing, and the dude just can't win. Very desperate, and he dies like that. Yeah, it's a dirty death. It's dirtier than Yamcha's death, and they all three of them die there. And like I said, that is one of probably like the angriest moments for Goku in the series, and it's a scene I love because again, this is when the humans still had like clout. To be honest, we're just out of Dragon Ball, and things are serious. This ain't the innocent tournaments. These guys are dying here. And seeing Goku's rage over that, over these guys he's known for years, I like it. I like it. I like it. Even if you say it's Goku time, I don't say it is. Goku needed the help of Yajirobe, Krillin, and Gohan to beat Vegeta. He didn't even beat Vegeta on his own, so I don't say it's Goku time. But that intro was Goku time, but I don't care. I like Goku. And the man is grown up now. He's not a kid anymore, and things aren't kiddish anymore. Things are serious, and I think you couldn't, illustrate that, establish that more properly than that. The sad thing about it, of course, is the fact that, well, this would be like the last serious human fight in series. And the fact that they went out that way is kind of sad. Especially if you're reading the manga, that's pretty much it. And you might say no, but I mean, well, go over what's left. They go to King Kai's planet. Um, and in the anime, they beat up the Ginyu Force, which is pretty cool. In the manga, they do go to King Kai's planet, but you don't see them beating up the Ginyu Force. So take that for what you will. But I mean, Tien maybe has like a decent power level. I mean, I've seen highest calcs put him around 60,000. That's what I had in my mind. That would mean if he did like a Neo Tri-Beam, he would be 6 million. So he would be able to hurt like Frieza using around 5% of his power. So, I mean, what could you say about that? But, well, if you calc the Neo Tri-Beam at 1,000 times power, I do. A lot of people do. But, yeah, he really does nothing in Namek. All he does is a little bit of pep talk, a little bit of commentary on the fight. Yeah, that's around it. In terms of character, nothing significant. One thing significant is the fact that when Chiaotzu was looking like he won't be able to be revived because they would need to use Shenron's dragon, Tien actually said he would stay on King Kai's planet with Chiaotzu if he couldn't be revived. So, I mean, loyalty by the man, again. So, and I do love that scene where, like, um, against Chiaotzu, he's angry at Nappa, and he's like, don't worry, Chiaotzu, I'll be with you soon. I'm like, oh, pretty good, pretty good. But, yeah, it's like a decent scene when Tien is like revived from the dragon, and Chiaotzu is like, oh, happy, and then Tien is like just looking down at him, just with a cool look, like, I'm a fan of Tien. And there's something I could comment on, which maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, but the way Team 4-Star handled like Tien and Chiaotzu is like perfect. I was laughing so much. Like, I laughed at that probably the most of anything in the series, honestly. And, you may not believe that, but honestly, it's like, where he's like treating you like, so, oh, Chiaotzu, don't look how, get here. He's like treating Chiaotzu like his kid or something. I found that really, really funny. And sometimes you see like a bit of that in the series. Like, there was that one, there's like the pendulum room, and they go into, I'm not sure. No, I don't think that was Vegeta. I think that was just some random planet Saiyans conquered. Yeah, because they mentioned having extinct population. But, like that. Yeah, I remember that clip from there. And Tien in the series, he's kind of taking tones like that. Um, yeah, but I like that scene, but not really because of Tien's role in it much. I mean, he played a role, but that's really just like the humans as a whole there. We'll talk about that scene sometime. Well, maybe. But, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'll just say that. It's like, I don't know. Some people maybe take that to like a literal extent. I personally don't. I just see them as like friends who've known each other for most of their lives, basically. Yeah, I don't know, like, with Chiaotzu, it's kind of weird because he's always looked the same. Like, even in that flashback where you see, like, Tien, he's, like, in the rain, he, like, falls on his knees against Tao. I think Chiaotzu just looks exactly the same. Maybe it's because he's, like, a doll, or, like, based on a doll or something like that. Like, maybe he isn't, like, human in, like, the standard sense. I'm not sure what he is. I mean, Tien's an alien, that's confirmed. I mean, he is. He's from, like, the Three-Eyed Tribe. He's, like, a long descendant of like Three-Eyed Tribe, which is like an alien. So he's like part alien, like very far off part alien, but he still is. I don't know. Say for that what you will, but that's confirmed. But yeah. So Android Saga. Everyone knows Tien's relevant moment in the Android Saga. I don't really have much to discuss before that. He had a little bit of a quabble with Vegeta. And he does, remember the fact that his death and Chiaotzu's death were responsible by Vegeta, and he won't forgive Vegeta for that. I don't think he ever does, which is good. You're gonna hold it against Vegeta, and hold it against him. Good. And yeah, I mean, probably the most relevant thing is the fact that he leaves Chiaotzu at Roshi's place. Chiaotzu just ain't ready. Those days are over, I guess. But EA comes in, got the new like loincloth mode on himself. That design. Yeah, not really much to say besides the moment. So I was a fan of this. I think everyone's a fan of this because it's like it's giving respect to the classic boys, especially if you were a fan. Especially if you're a fan of old Dragon Ball. This was really nice to see. Tien comes in and holds back Cell, and he does. He holds back Cell from absorbing 18, and he saves the day. And the dude like shortens his life by doing it. Like who knows how what that did to him, but the dude goes through, and he pushes back semi-perfect Cell, and it's great to see. It's great to see. It's great to see. The man does it. Goku saves him, and I really like that. Like where Tien has gone on a tri-beam, and then Piccolo's done, and then Goku comes in and saves them. I like that scene. Just the way I really like everything about that scene. Piccolo doing the light grenade, Tien doing the tri-beam, and then Goku coming in. And Cell's little quabble with Goku is actually like awesome. Like I don't know if you've seen that scene in a while, but in like the dub, it is awesome. Like Cell like Goku shows up and Cell is like, I've always wanted a chance to fight the legendary Goku. And then Goku goes and he takes Piccolo and he takes Tien. And Goku says, yeah, well, I'll be going off training, and in one day I'll be able to fight you properly. And then Cell says, of all the things I've heard of Goku throughout my time, the last thing I would expect is when you show up, the first thing you say is, see you tomorrow. Like, it's really funny. Like, I love that. I love Cell. I love Cell. So that was awesome. But, yeah, Tien taken out. Yeah. So, I mean, the dude lives, but here you get one thing that's kind of cringe. Tien doesn't go into the hyperbolic time chamber. Why is that? Piccolo went in there. Why? Why didn't he go in there? I can understand Krillin and Yamcha. Yamcha because he was like, given the Gero duty, out of action, stabbed right into retirement. But why? And Krillin, he was all with Android 18 or whatever. Tien was at the lookout. Like, why didn't he go into the time chamber? I mean, he's like, what he says is like, that's too rough for me at this point. It's like, come on, dude. Well, whatever. But he didn't go in there, so yeah, trains on his own for the Cell games, I guess. Yeah, it's yeah. Well, anyway, gets to the Cell games and he shows up with Yamcha. And they say we're gonna watch, but we're not gonna fight. So the boys are really experiencing it there. The Super Saiyan, reality is setting in, and it's setting in for the audience as well. But it's not to say they're like not even useful in the fight, though. I mean, some of it was anime filler, but you get that whole thing where Piccolo's like, Yamcha, Tien, protect Goku, and they go in there and they like both of them like grab like the arms of like a Cell Junior and all that. And they like handle themselves, I mean, honestly, it's like they're way weaker than them, but they're like handling themselves. They're still in the fight there. I mean, what can you say? I love that scene though, where it's like, Piccolo's like, Tien, Yamcha, help Goku. It's like, yo, the boys from back in the day are protecting Son Goku, the Super Saiyan. I love it. I love it. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. It's one of the reasons I love the Cell games. It's really like the midpoint of Dragon Ball. Like, of Dragon Ball as the whole. If you count like GT, it's really like the middle point of it. Middle point in Super Saiyan transformations as well. You get Super Saiyan 2 there. Love it. Love it, and it's the last stand of the humans. This really is. This is really the last stand. Especially in the anime. But, yeah, they're in there. They put in the effort. They help out. And that's nice. Yeah, that's really the most relevant thing until the beam struggle. The beam stroke, and I'll need to talk about what each character says, in given their like monologue when they're helping out Gohan. And I love that scene. It's one of my absolute favorite scenes in all of Dragon Ball is when these guys who are so much weaker than Cell, they come in, put everything on the line to help Gohan. And what Tien says is, Goku is the reason he has trained, he has continued to hone his skills throughout the years, and beating Goku has always been his dream. And about that is really like back to their first fight. Tien made the proclamation where he said, all I care about is just winning this, being the strongest. That's it. And really, that's just led up to this. He has gotten the strength that he has. Yeah, he's not the strongest guy out there, but he's gotten the strength that he has. He's kept that motivation because of Goku, and along all this, and he will make sure his son lives. Oh, was it Yamcha or was it? Yeah, I think it's Tien who says, um, Goku, you made that sacrifice against Cell, and I just sat there and watched. I won't do the same with your son. Love that line. Yeah, love that line so much. Um, so that's Tien. That's really like the end of him. Honestly, that's really like the end of Tien. Doesn't even show up at the tournament in the Buu Saga. It doesn't even show up. Like, come on, dude. Doesn't show up. Does he? Yeah, he shows up at the epilogue tournament. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yeah, he does. He either shows up at that, or he definitely shows up at the party that they were having, like, before the epilogue. He definitely shows up at that. And I'm pretty sure he shows up at the epilogue tournament. GT, you see him, like, twice, I think. You see him in was it was when Baby or no, not Baby. It was when they were announcing to move all of humanity to planet Tuffle. You saw a little clip of Yamcha, you saw a little clip of Tien and Chiaotzu. And the other time you see them, I believe, is right when Goku's leaving. Tien and Chiaotzu training, see Goku flying overhead the Shenron. You also see Yamcha there as well. I think that's the only time you see them in all of GT though. Which is fine. Which is fine. I mean, they're totally out of the game by GT. It's okay. For me, the only thing that's disappointing. Well, nah, I'll talk about this. For me, the only thing that was disappointing I really found is, for me, in my mind, what Tien always should have done is make his own dojo. I don't know about you. I thought Tien always should have done this. And it's like one of the only good things I can see out of like the modern Dragon Ball Super, because from what I understand, he does not make his own dojo, but the way he looks, what he's dressed in, he appears to have his own symbol. I think he does. And he looks like a master. He looks like a professional, like seasoned martial artist. Which I don't mind his old design. I mean, the dude is like ripped, like the dude's jacked, But I really like that modern design they got going for him. I do. I think that's actually a really good design for him, especially seeing how he's passing on in the years. Uh, you know, I like it. For me, he always should have done that. He should become lead his own dojo. I think that's what he always should have done. I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't. Uh, it's like just training in the mountains forever. It's like, he should pass on that to other people. I mean, he appreciates his strength, and he says, it's because of Goku I've gotten this strength. You'd think he could pass that on to other people, but no, whatever. It's just something that wasn't explored that I think should have been. Anyway, that's is what it is. I mean, the last thing to point out, because I talked about GT, that's really all I need to say about GT, TN, whatever. The last thing to point out with him is when he shows up against Super Buu. I mean, he's shown when Goku's going Super Saiyan 3, he says like a little thing. I think he's all like, "Oh, Goku, what are you doing? You'll destroy the whole planet if you release all this energy, blah, blah, blah." Nothing too relevant. I do like his design in the Buu Saga. Again, he looks more seasoned. He's got like the cape on. He's got this like blue kind of like tunic to him, whatever. But he shows up against Super Buu, and a lot of people kind of like joke about this scene where they say Tien shows up and he just shows up and gets like kicked once and he's just out of the way by Super Buu. And he does more than that. He does more than that. He shows up, loses in close combat, but when Super Buu was about to kill Hercule, he was flying towards Hercule. Gohan tried to fly at him. Tien fires a tri-beam and saves Hercule. You might think, who cares? But Hercule was required to gather the energy for the Spirit Bomb to defeat Buu. So Hercule is, significant to the plot. Him living is important. So Tien did a plot important thing. He saved Hercule. I mean, I don't know what. Well, all right. The man isn't completely useless. However, everyone does forget about him. Literally, seriously, they forget about him completely. The dude doesn't even show up after everyone on Earth is revived. It's like, really? That's kind of sad. But not sure what I could say about him in Dragon Ball Super. I mean, he took on some mooks and Fakatsu no F or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you have this whole stuff where the people are getting trained or whatever by this whole Galactic Patrolman stuff. Doesn't appear he'll be relevant. I mean, he at least made it in to the whole universal survival thing. He was at least there. Yamcha, they just MIA, just out of there. I think they were deliberately trying to troll Yamcha, troll Yam champions. Come on, dude. Yamcha's been here since day one. Yamcha, oh whatever, man, whatever. I mean, we'll make a video about that. But Tien was at least there. Chiaotzu wasn't there, but Tien was at least there. So honestly, just having him around and just having him be fodder is honestly more disrespectful than what GT did to him. Honestly. Honestly, having Tien just there at the end of GT, just seeing him, see Goku fly off, that gives more to him than what they've done in Dragon Ball Super. I know people will hate on me for that. I know people. Whatever. Well, let's see if I can point out anything else about Tien. The only other thing to talk about would be the movies. I think really the only relevant thing I could say out of the movies is, you remember that scene in BoJack Unbound where Tien took on Trunks and forced him to go Super Saiyan? He was fighting Trunks' base, and then Trunks had to go Super Saiyan to beat him. And Tien lost, but that was a good fight. Watch that fight again. That was actually a decent fight. Kind of cool movement under the stadium, flying around. Trunks needed to go Super Saiyan to beat Tien. Pretty funny. But that's actually a decent fight. Check that one out, honestly. So that's probably the last thing I could say about Tien Shinhan. Tien Shinhan. Really, the man has kind of just declined ever since he was introduced. I mean, it's sad to say. I'm a fan of him. Back in the day, great, great fights with the dude. Great techniques, all that. His original character arc, I'm a great fan of. It's a further commentary on the turtle ideology in Dragon Ball, and he was not, fodder until Cell Saga time. He had his moments of respect, and I'm a fan of the character. I'm a fan of the character right from back in the day. Um, yeah, I'm pretty much a fan of every fight he's been in. To be honest, I don't think there's any Tien fight I don't like. Uh, so the way it's gone for him is kind of sad. I think the only thing I really don't like is the fact that no launch marriage and no martial arts dojo. Like, come on, dude. That's just a personal thing for me, but really, I mean, come on. Wouldn't just for me, it just sounds like perfect, and it's just not there. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But this went longer than I thought. I thought this would be like half an hour. Well, I'm a fan of TN, so I mean, what do you expect? But okay. Rate, comment, subscribe, blah blah blah. Thank you. Join the Spaghetti Kingdom. Join Spagoni. Join the Professor Pickle army. I'm not the biggest fan of what does he have? Ham sandwiches or whatever. I know I'm gonna get like down talk for that. Oh, you don't remember the Professor Pickle memes, right? And I watch Pickle Unleashed. I'm rambling. Thank you. I'll be back.